WHDH-TV, Boston. This is News 7, New England.
And the evening commute becomes a little less miserable. We'll explain.
Finally at 5, music for weary rush hour travelers. The cast of the hit Les Miserables is helping raise awareness of the upcoming AIDS benefit walk by performing this evening rush hour at the Back Bay Tea Station with the From All Walks of Life piano. That one-of-a-kind Yamaha piano was a gift to the AIDS Action Committee to help celebrate the annual walk. It's been signed by more than 20 celebrities. From All Walks of Life is the official title of the AIDS Walk, which is scheduled for Sunday, June 3rd. Little turnstile music tonight.
Oh, what a great treat for commuters. Better than sitting in traffic.
Tomorrow at 8, an old-fashioned barn raising on This Old House. Then at 8:30, we examine health issues on Say Brother. And at 9, it's Inspector Morse in both episodes of The Last Enemy on Mystery. Join us. The 10 o'clock news is closed captioned for our hearing-impaired viewers. We are grateful to Dunkin' Donuts and Bull Worldwide Information Systems for making this important service possible.
I'm Christopher Lydon.
And I'm Carmen Fields. It's a full bag tonight on the 10 o'clock news. Mr. Gorbachev is in Washington to talk about a big fear of his, a unified Germany attached to NATO. We also hear David Twitchell's side of the story. He's a Christian Science father charged with the death of his young son.
Also tonight, an old ghost has returned to Democratic politics in Kevin White's tale of his trying to pad his salary in the mayor's office. And we'll listen at length to Kevin White's entry in the governor's race, John Silber of Boston University.
The 10 o'clock news is made possible by your contribution and by grants from Nimrod Press, printers and engravers. From New England Telephone, 30,000 people serving New England's communications needs for more than 100 years. And from Shawmut, providers of financial services at more than 200 locations across Massachusetts.
This Sunday will be the 5th annual AIDS Walk in Boston. Last year, 18,000 walkers put their souls on the pavement and raised $1.8 million. This year, they're hoping to pass the $2 million mark. But the walk is about much more than raising money, as Hope Kelly reports.
Charles is 27. Could have been 27 December the 28th. He lived with me. When he got sick, my whole world stopped.
Charles was her only child.
My only son.
He died of AIDS 6 years ago this month. And in a sense, she died too, until she found the AIDS Action Committee and a reason to continue.
When I first came, I was very shy, I was very hurt. I was torn apart.
Now, 2 days a week, Bernice runs the reception desk here. Down the hall, another volunteer answers the hotline. Courtney is just 23, but she started volunteering here when she was 19.
So there is some reason why you feel you need to be tested? Okay, and you know...
Courtney and Bernice come from different worlds until AIDS put them on common ground. Her father was gay, and he was infected.
And then after I found that out, it became more important because it's a very supportive environment wherever you're volunteering. And you're around people who know what you're going through, who have gone through it in different ways themselves.
Her father died 2 years ago. Now she's one of the faces that make up this year's poster and make the point that this is a walk from all walks of life.
And sort of, I see it up places, and I know people don't recognize me, but I feel good that I'm there.
Excellent. Okay. And my next question...
With 3 days left till Sunday, everyone's busy. The mood's almost festive. There are mountains of streamers to decorate the route, but these streamers may just as well be cases of AIDS. There are so many already and so many more to come.
We have 1,075 clients now.
Just here.
Just here.
The state as a whole has 3,200, a caseload that will double in a year and a half, and then 2 years later will double again.
At that point, in 1995, we will be spending more in the Commonwealth to take care of people with AIDS than we're now spending in the total Medicaid budget.
When that day comes, he also says it will be our own doing. We'll all pay later for not spending now.
This year in the city of San Francisco alone, all the agencies in the city combined will be spending about $350 million on AIDS.
Compared to
Compared to $15 million here. That's disgrace. We're going to lose thousands of lives that we didn't need to be lost.
Kessler doesn't mean to cast a cloud over the walk, nor to minimize the couple million it could raise. In fact, he says those funds are needed more urgently than ever, just as the walk itself is to those who take part.
I was walking for my son, and I was walking for 1,000 more people, sons and daughters and all. I was like, at time it was sad, and then at time I could smile.
You know, it's a happy and sort of a sad thing at the same time. So it's just in general very emotional.
I'll think about my son, a lot of loved ones that I've lost here since I've been here. I'll be walking for them, and I'll be finishing for them.
For the 10 o'clock news, I'm Hope Kelly.
On Monday at 10, forcing gays out of the closet.
Live from WBZ TV4. This is Eyewitness News, Weekend Edition.
In Boston today, tens of thousands of people showed they are willing to go the distance to fight a killer disease. As Eyewitness newsman Ted Wayman reports, the AIDS Pledge Walk was the most successful the Bay State has ever seen.
5, 6, 7. It began as a giant aerobics class, more than 25,000 people jamming Boston Common, getting ready for what some say is the most important walk of their lives.
I lost my father to AIDS 2 years ago, and this is my third walk, but since then it's sort of taken on more significance for me.
The 5th annual Pledge Walk attracted people from all over the Bay State, including many with AIDS.
I thank you for the love, support, commitment that our being here today shows me. I'm empowered and enlightened. Thank you.
It was also a chance to remember those who have died from AIDS.
I know that Frank walks beside me. Look over your shoulder. He is walking with you too.
For the next several hours, people would walk, skate, and push their way along the 6-mile route.
The spirit and the fantastic organization and what it does for a lot of people.
In Massachusetts, the numbers are staggering. There are 3,000 reported cases of AIDS in the Bay State, and each week an estimated 8 more cases of AIDS are diagnosed. The walk ended at the Hatch Shell, where all the hard work paid off, literally.
Today, over 25,000 walkers raised over $2 million.
Many here hope that all involved will walk away from the experience with more than just sore feet.
It has to be more than just one day. It has to be constant.
In Boston, Ted Wayman, TV4 Eyewitness News.
Walk organizers say the money raised here in the Boston area will stay in the state. It will be distributed to AIDS treatment and research programs.
June Allison and Van Johnson tonight at midnight.
With the Washington summit now one for the history books, Mikhail Gorbachev jets off to see America. Frank Bellotti wins the Democratic endorsement for governor amid hardball politics and harsh picketing. And a brawl breaks out at the ballpark in Cleveland between the Red Sox and the Indians.
Now, the news of New England and the world, live from News Center 5 at 6.
Thousands laced up their sneakers and hit the streets of Boston today to raise money for victims of AIDS. This year's walk is expected to bring in more funds than ever. Tonight, News Center 5's Greg Coy reports each dollar is of critical importance to those fighting the disease.
Robert Levy didn't participate in the Walk for Life just for recreation. He not only wants a cure for AIDS, his life depends on it.
I myself am an HIV person living with HIV infection, and I feel I'm doing this for myself, for the community, and for others.
Like Robert Levy, 25,000 people marched through Boston, Cambridge, and onto the Esplanade to raise $2 million for AIDS research and care. Organizers call this year's march From All Walks of Life, since anyone can get AIDS.
The bottom line here is that it's a disease and it affects everybody that breathes and lives.
Across the Commonwealth, 80 radio stations simultaneously played the song that's come to symbolize the struggle against AIDS. Activists say hand in hand, the government and private sector must declare AIDS the nation's #1 public health problem.
Help us now. Time's up, government. Help us now. And 25,000 people said, what you're doing now is not enough.
AIDS activists say today's turnout proves 2 points, that more and more people are beginning to understand the dangers of AIDS, and more people want a cure. On the Esplanade, I'm Greg Coy, News Center 5.
WHDH-TV, Boston. This is News 7, New England.
Stay with us. We have a lot more to tell you about on News 7 tonight. Witnesses say it looks like a war zone. Parts of the Midwest ripped apart by tornadoes. Some dramatic twister footage coming up. Also,
I'm Victoria Block in Boston, where thousands have gathered to march to fight against AIDS. That story coming up when News 7 continues.
an outpouring of help and emotion today as an estimated 30,000 people took to the streets of Boston for the 5th annual From All Walks of Life fundraiser. News 7's Victoria Block reports the 10K walk raised more than $2 million in pledges for AIDS care and research in Massachusetts.
Is everyone paying good hair? Registration began early. The lines were long, and so was the hope that one day the people would win the fight against AIDS.
This is an important and very valuable way to break through the denial that's out there that this is someone else's problem.
Among the 25,000 walkers today, Chad Stiffay. His companion is at home dying from AIDS. He represented both of them this year.
It means a little bit of fear, loneliness, and happiness, despair, scary. You know, strength where you didn't think you had.
Strength one mother didn't know she had until her son died last month.
That answer was not there for Frank, but it does not mean it will be there for you today.
This year's goal is to raise $2 million. It grows every year, along with the AIDS epidemic.
When we started in 1983 as the Action Committee, there were 5 people with AIDS in the city and 13 in the Commonwealth. We now have 1,500 cases just in the city of Boston and over 3,000 in the Commonwealth.
Over the past 4 years, this walk has raised more than $3.5 million for medical care, research, and educational programs. Much of the funding is also funneled into social and support services for people with AIDS and their families.
More important than that is donating time. Time is very valuable.
Especially to those hoping they'll be able to hang on until researchers find a cure for AIDS. In Boston, Victoria Block, News 7.
The Superpower Summit wraps up without a hitch. And chaos at the Democratic Convention sparks accusations of a GOP conspiracy. Next on the news at 10.
Live from Channel 56, the news at 10.
Several thousand people took to the streets of Boston today to raise money to fight the deadly disease AIDS. The 5th annual All Walks of Life March covered 10 kilometers, and by some estimates, 20,000 people laced up their sneakers for the event. Organizers say more than $2 million was pledged. The walk ended at the Hatch Shell on the Charles River, where walkers enjoyed a free concert.
I came out because I've lost a number of friends and loved ones to AIDS, and that I think participating today is one way that we can show our strength for the community, and it also, I think, makes AIDS much more visible to people who don't want to see it.
Today is great. The crowd is marvelous. To see this many people supporting any group is wonderful.
Organizers say the money raised today will go to AIDS research and patient care.